We got a little ways to go, but we're going to do that after people get to know me a little bit better here and know that I'm a representative that's going to represent all the people in the region. But I want to thank all of you. We have so many volunteers and supporters that are out there in the audience, and I could not have done what I did if it wasn't for you. So when I talk about things like our office, and this is our congressional seat, it's all of ours. This is not my seat, it's not my office, it's your office. It's your congressional seat, and that's what I want you to feel in this campaign. So to the folks in the grassroots groups, to folks on the committee, to anyone who stepped up and volunteered, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you did. This was no easy task, winning in this congressional district, but we knew we were outgunned in terms of the money. We knew that we had a lot of pretty big, powerful special interest groups trying to hang on to this seat. And some of the statistics that I've seen have been pretty amazing. You know, in the 22nd district, Mark Molinaro, who was running for governor, he beat Governor Cuomo by 24 points, 24%, something like that. But a lot of crossover support went over to us. And that's because we had those volunteers out there knocking on doors, making phone calls, writing letters. So thank you for that. It was not easy. I don't think Mother Nature cooperated with us very much in the weeks and weekends leading up to the election. But you all went out there under some pretty miserable conditions and really helped deliver this election for the people of the 22nd District. So thank you. Give yourself a round of applause. I want you all to know that I'm going to be around a lot, so please don't get sick of me. We're going to be hosting a lot of town hall meetings. Our goal is to try and get at least one town hall every month throughout the congressional district, so we're in the process of setting up those right now. So we've got to keep this momentum and this energy going, because this is a thank you party tonight, but it's also the kickoff of the Brindisi 2020 congressional. We got to all stick together and try and move forward, but I also want to be held accountable to all of you, so I want to know what you're thinking, what I can do to better everything here in the community down in Washington, and I want to make sure we have an open line of communication, so when I'm making decisions down in Washington, you understand why I'm making those decisions. So we're going to be hosting town hall meetings. I'm in the process now of trying to set up meetings with community leaders, other local officials in Chenango County and throughout the region to learn firsthand some of the issues that everyone's working on here and how I can help use our office to better some of the things that are happening in this community. So I'll be around a lot, and I tell people whether you voted for me or not, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, I don't care. The election is over. Now we have to govern. And I want to be the representative for all the people in this region, whether they voted for me or not, and that's what we need right now down in Washington. So. I'll give you a quick, Mr. Zeno wants to say.
I do.
Get over here.
I have something here. A little present for all your supporters in Chenango County.
All right.
We thought you might like something to remember.
Wow.
For your office.
This will be hanging in a very prominent location in our office, so thank you very much. Brindisi clinches victory over Tenney. I like that. Well, that's a great picture, and a lot of great memories made out of the office here in Norwich. So thank you all for helping make this happen. I'll give you just a brief update. We've been doing a lot of things over these last few weeks, and I'm sure you're all excited to know what I've been up to for these last few weeks. So I'll give you just a little brief update as to what's going on down in Washington and what our plans are come January 3rd. So immediately after the election night, it's funny, on election night, they called the race, the AP called the race, and CNN and ABC and all these news outlets called the race, and I go out to make my victory speech 7,000 votes ahead of Ms. Tenney. And by the time I'm done with my victory speech, I'm now 1,200 votes. So it was a pretty big switch from where I was to what happened, but we knew that with 15,000 absentees out there, and we had a really aggressive absentee program, that we were going to be okay. So if you're out in the crowd and you voted absentee, thank you very much. Because we even did better once they counted all the absentee ballots, the military voters, the overseas voters. We went up from 1,200 to over 4,000.
Yeah.
So the week after after the election night, I went down to Washington. They do 2 weeks of freshman orientation. And there's something like 90 new members of Congress, of the House. 63 or 62 Democrats, 30 Republicans, and they have us all down there for freshman orientation. And it's really like drinking from a fire hose. That's what it's been described as. They throw a lot of information at you, everything from where's the bathroom to how do you get a bill introduced into committee and signed into law. So there's a lot that they throw at you. It was exciting to meet a lot of the new members. It's great. We have a whole group of new people coming in. We have a lot of exciting ideas. They come from various parts of the country, have lots of different things in their background. But the one thing that kind of unites all of us is that there really is, I get the sense, of a willingness to try and want to work together. So that's good on both sides of the aisle, and we need more of that down in Washington. So we're trying to find ways as a freshman class where we can put aside some of our political differences and agree on some policy changes that need to happen down in Washington. And some of the reforms that we've pushed for is really trying to make it easier for legislation that has broad bipartisan support to come up for a vote in the House of Representatives. That's a good thing because sometimes leadership, and on both sides it's to blame, will keep bills in committee for political reasons because it suits their political needs. When you have a majority of the House who supports something, we feel as a freshman class that that should be brought up for a vote, which is a good reform that's going to be put in place. We spent a couple days at the Harvard School of Government. Harvard pays for you to come. It's not on the taxpayer dime. Harvard, the Kennedy School will pay for you to come and invites all kinds of speakers in to talk about issues. People who worked on the Hill, people who worked in the White Houses, both Democrats and Republicans, people in industry, people representing environmental groups. It's really been a nice experience to hear firsthand from some of them on their take on some of the policy issues that are impacting our country. They made a mistake. They didn't invite any labor leaders to come talk at Harvard, which was a big mistake. But you'll be happy to know that on my evaluation I wrote that. Next time you need to have some labor leaders there, because we heard from CEOs, but we need to hear from some labor leaders as well. We did our office lottery down in Washington, and I tried to post some of that on Facebook to let you all know how I did. I didn't do very well. There were 85 new offices available, and the way it works is you're all called in for the office lottery. It's the closest thing you get to the NFL draft. And essentially, you walk up based on alphabetical order, you stick your hand in the box, you pick a number, and based on what number you get, that's where you get to pick in the office lottery. I got 79. But I believe that we got a pretty decent office. We're in the Cannon office building. We're on the 3rd floor. Claudia also did not have a good number, but she made it up onto the 5th floor. And for those who remember Mike Arcuri, he had a really bad number. So I think just this district gets a bad choice. It really doesn't matter. But we got onto the 3rd floor. We have a great office. We have an interior view which is the courtyard of the Cannon building. There's a lot of construction equipment out there right now because they're doing a lot of renovations. As I was telling Paul, you know, I can see all the men and women of organized labor outside my window, which is a good thing because it makes me remember back home and my roots here. So we got a good office. We're working now to hire staff for our district offices and for our offices down in Washington. I come into this with a little bit of an edge because serving in the legislature, I have some staff members that I'm going to be bringing with me from my assembly office to work in the congressional office. Our district director is a woman by the name of Sarah Borman. Sarah right now is my director of constituent services, but she has worked for Sherry Bullard, she worked for Mike Arcuri, she worked for Richard Hanna, and she came over to work in my office. And she's going to be our district director in charge of our district offices. You all get a chance to meet Sarah very soon, but she's got a lot of experience on the district side. We're going to have a few other people from my assembly office. They're going to be caseworkers to help on those constituent issues. Ellen Foster, Ellen's here somewhere, who was our campaign manager, is going to be my chief of staff down in Washington. And now we're filling out the rest of our team, looking for our legislative folks. For those who remember John Light. John is going to be, I think it's safe to say, one of our legislative assistants down in Washington. We would love to hire every single campaign member that we could, but some of them we told you have to go back to school. We forget how young they are. They have to finish their educations, so many of them are going back, but for those who are looking for jobs, we're trying to at least find them some jobs down in Washington if they want to be down in Washington. So that's what we've really been working on for the last few weeks. We get sworn in on January 3rd. I'll be down in Washington. My family's going to be down there to be sworn in, and then it's full steam ahead. There's a lot of issues that we're going to be working on. One of the first things that we're going to pass as a new House is a bill, H.R. 1, which is a series of bills that address campaign finance and ethics reform down in Washington. Which is something that is desperately needed down in Washington on both the campaign finance reform side of things, but also on the ethics reform. And another area that we want to address is redistricting, having states go to independent redistricting so these congressional districts don't get gerrymandered the way that they have been gerrymandered for the last several decades. We do have divided government that we work in right now, so we'll see what happens on the Senate side on that bill. But there's so many different areas where we need to tackle right away. We saw the decision this past weekend on the Affordable Care Act. Health care, as you all know, is a number one priority for me down in Washington. Doing something to shore up the ACA, protect people with pre-existing conditions, and then look for ways that we can make sure healthcare is affordable to everybody in this country, not just folks who can afford it. The environment, I joined the Sustainable Energy and Environment Caucus down in Washington, which is a group. Paul Tonko, who's a congressman up in Albany, is one of the leaders in that group. He's a leader in the environment and trying to find ways to bring the economy and the environment together. These two forces do not have to be at odds. Green jobs are great for our economy and are outpacing fossil fuel jobs by huge margins right now. And we need to make more investments in our environment and fighting back climate change. That's just some of the stuff that's on the agenda. Some of the stuff that's on the agenda, infrastructure, areas where we can try and find some common ground with the president, hopefully, on some of these big ticket items that we need to get moving forward, like infrastructure. We'll see what happens with that. But
maybe he'll be gone by then.
Who knows? Who knows? But I want everyone to know that I'm so grateful for everything you did in the campaign. It means so much to me. I enjoyed meeting all of you and becoming friends. I look forward to working with all of you going forward. I hope those of you who helped and who got engaged in this process will stay engaged in this process, because we have so much work ahead of us to do. many of you have told me this is the first time you've ever been involved in politics through this campaign, and that excites me. And I hope you stay involved in politics, because we have to hold our elected leaders and myself accountable down in Washington. I want to be here in the district as much as possible. We need a representative who's here in our community working on issues that are important to people back home, working on those constituent issues, our veterans issues, people calling our office for Social Security and IRS and tax issues. I want to make sure that they have responses and they're getting feedback from our caseworkers in our office. So if you have issues that you need help on, please reach out to our office and we will be there to help. That's really, I think, one of the biggest jobs as a representative in Congress. So thank you all for being here. I don't know if you have any questions you want to throw at me while I'm here.
The village mayors are forming a coalition in our county.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, who would I call in your office to push the idea of you meeting with the new organization of all village mayors, so that you can become known to them, and then we can move ahead to the election in 2020.
Absolutely. At this point, I would reach out to Ellen, who's in the back there. We're kind of in this very strange transition period where they're going to be turning off my computers on Wednesday for the state assembly, but I don't quite have an email or a phone number or even an office in the district yet, for that matter, on the House side. But come January 3rd, my suggestion is to come January 3rd, when we got the email set up and the phone numbers in the office, then you can start reaching out that way. That's probably the best way to get in touch with us.
Good, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's it. Oh, I'll ask you a question.
All right.
Since my name is Nancy, I'm curious to know how you and Nancy got along, and do you feel, I read some article where because of the way the vote is changing, there should be no repercussions against people like you who said that they couldn't vote for her.
Yeah, and I think she understands that, and we had a great conversation. We met face to face and talked a lot about the district. She has a great understanding of the district because she worked very closely with Mike Arcuri, and her and Richard Hanna were very good friends, and Sherry Bowler, for that matter. So she's a very great understanding of the district, understands the position I'm in and the commitment I made, and why I cannot break that commitment on my first vote as a member of the House. But it does look there is a group of members as of last week that signed on to some reforms that she had promised, and I have to say she's agreed to a whole host of reforms to really involve rank and file members in the process. So I think we'll be okay on that front.
Please don't be shy.
You said it. You said it.
I'm with Norwich Meadows Farm, and Richard Hanna and representatives before that had a farmers council, and
We're going to be starting that again.
Thank you,
Yes.
because we need a voice, and we didn't have one
Yeah.
the last number of years, and we'd like to share with you our concerns and see if we can make some progress.
Yeah, that's a great point, and that's something that you're right. Richard had a lot of different advisory groups in the district on different issues. Chief among them, I think, is agriculture, and I want to bring back that agricultural advisory committee made up of farmers throughout the district, different stakeholders throughout the district, and we could meet quarterly, twice a year, whatever it takes. But also, as issues come up in Washington that impact our farmers, I have a sounding board that I can go back to and try and bounce ideas off of. So we're going to get that going again. So look for details on that. And we'd love to have people engaged in that process.
Don't all raise your hands at once.
On that subject, I know it's a little weird, but what do you think of the new agriculture bill that just got passed?
I'm not running for anything.
I know that, but you're the expert. The expert.
The farm bill in this country is skewed to two different things, and one is large corporate agriculture, and the other is the basically the food stamp program, which is sort of why that's in that farm bill is it got instituted a long time ago, but it's there. So those are the two big entities, and all of the other farm issues get totally submerged under those two things. And so there's a lot of us out there which we have to shrug our shoulders and say there's nothing there for us. And obviously something in our area is the price of milk that the farmers get, and that gets submerged. Every large economy on the planet that has a dairy industry has figured that one out, except the United States. So the United States is going to have to figure out who supplies milk and how much. Just like Canada and Germany and all the other countries have figured it out. Sorry about that.
No, thank you, that's just what I needed to know.
I think I talked to the chair. He's the ranking member of the Agriculture Committee. He will be the chair, Colin Peterson. He's a Democrat from Minnesota. He has said that he was very happy there was no tinkering with the food stamp program in the farm bill. Right. And the other thing he was very pleased that there were some things in there that are going to be very beneficial to smaller dairy farmers, under 100 cows, smaller, not some of the big corporate conglomerates, the 50,000 head farms that you might see out west.
Hi, Anthony. I'd like to see if you would be addressing the issue of mental health issues. We really need the government to get involved and realize that a lot of the issues that we're facing every day are because of mental health problems. I don't think anybody wants to grow up to be a drug addict.
Yeah, I agree with you. Coming from a school board in a very high-needs school district, I've seen a lot of these challenges firsthand. And I think there has to be more emphasis placed and funding placed on early childhood education, making sure that we have more social workers, school counselors, mental health professionals in the schools to help deal with some of the challenges that young people are coming to the schools with from homes that they might not be getting that kind of assistance at home. So that's an area that we have to focus on more. We need to have a lot more focus on education in our country and making sure that we're holding our education secretary accountable for really some of the things that she is doing to undermine public education at a time when we should be assisting public education. I'll do one more question, then I'm going to be here for a while, so then I'll circulate around. Is that cool? You got to make it a good one because you're last.
Just wondering if you know what committees you're going to.
I don't know yet. We're waiting to see what committees. We probably won't know until January. We're still kind of in the process of making those decisions. And I've been trying to talk to a lot of the chairs of the different committees because I want to make the right choice too. So I'm trying to get a good understanding of what each committee does, the personalities that are running those committees, and where I think I will work best to help this area. So whatever committee I do land on, I think we can use to our benefit here in our region. And if I can get on 2 different committees, that would be nice too, or a subcommittee. That's something that I'm very interested in trying to do. So.
Are you sharing your office?
Sharing it?
There's been big news about how the outgoing people are in little cubbies in a downstairs basement office.
Yes.
And some are sharing their office.
Well, we're not sharing any offices just yet. We don't have any furniture to sit in at this point in time down in Washington, but it's amazing how quick they do move you out of your office after you decide you're not coming back and put you into a cubby down in the basement. Because they really do try and turn around those offices pretty quickly for incoming members. The thing is, we won't take her office anyway, so that's you have to go to a lot of a whole new office. Well, thank you all very much. I'm gonna stick around and make my way through the back there, and again.